Welcome to SB67D, Principles of Management 1. We're continuing our discussion looking at the management rules, session 4. We're still in unit 1, which is looking at the nature of management, and my name is Felicia Frida Aidan Aqua. By the end of this session, you should be able to actually explain what roles means, identify and explain the various roles of the manager, and give examples of activities managers do under these various roles as well. So let's kickstart in there. So basically, when we're looking at managers' roles, you're looking at some of the behaviors you need to adopt in order for you to perform the functions you'd have to do. And so there are 10 roles Herzberg actually propounded or came up with when it comes to managers, and we're going to look at them, which can be grouped into the interpersonal role, the information rule, and the decision rule. So when we're looking at the interpersonal rule, we're actually looking at people issues in them. And so whether it's a business, whether it's the nation, you realize that we have the manager who serves as the figurehead. If there was any program or any event for your department, you realize it's going to be a department head, which is going to represent your department. When it comes to the country Ghana, if there's any ceremonial event or any function, you realize that March, you realize that it's the president who will actually stands in for Ghana, who is a figurehead for Ghana. If there's any UN program or UN project or anything that Ghana is supposed to be there, you're going to have the president in there as well. So when it comes to UCC, if there's any program or anything, you realize that we're going to have our VC going there as our figurehead representing the university, or the chancellor also representing the university. And so the manager performs the function of the figurehead, who is more of a representative of the business or of the department, or depending on the type of manager you are. So you are a representative or ceremonial figurehead or ceremonial head for where you find yourself. They are also leaders as well. Managers are leaders. They need to be able to influence people to get the work done. And so all managers virtually are leaders, because you need to be able to get the people to do what they have to do. They also have to liaise within the network they find themselves. So when it comes to information or anything, they need to be able to liaise both within the organization and outside the organization, usually through their networks. So you realize that when Ghana needs something from the outside world, sometimes the president will go and then do some lobbying and things and liaise for us to get those supports in there as well. So the manager is also has to perform the role of a liaison in there, and these three are key interpersonal roles. The figurehead, where you are the ceremonial figure for the ceremonial figure. You also have a leader, where you're able to influence and get people to do what they have to do, and then liaison, where you're looking out for both within and outside the company how to use the network and information to get things for the business. Then we also have the information rule, which is looking at how information is actually received, handled, and even dispersed in the business or in the organization or where you find yourself. So every manager, first and foremost, you need to be able to monitor the environment you find yourself, to be able to get access to information. Don't forget that information is very key in wherever you find yourself as an individual, in your business, in the society. Information matters a lot. And so as a manager, you need to be on the lookout for information, relevant information to your function or to your role all the time. And so the manager performs what we call the monitor role, where he's always scanning the environment to look out for information. Once we've been able to get these ones, we need to bring it into the organization. When we bring it into the organization, what is the relevance of you having all the information and keeping it to yourself? How will the business be able to work with it? And so once it comes into the organization, the manager has to be able to disseminate the information, share the information to the relevant people who need those information. You can imagine if your course rep was told that there was going to be, let's say, a quiz in about a month's time or something, and then your course rep didn't tell the class, it kept it to themselves, and then the day of the quiz or something, you didn't know, and let's say you were out of the country or you were out somewhere and you missed it. What is going to be the relevance of that information to the person? And so you realize that there's a need to disseminate information. Information has to be well disseminated in the organization so that everybody is always up to their game. There's also the spokesperson function. So when there is problem in the organization, it's not everybody who has to go out and talk. That is one thing sometimes we miss out here. So when there's a problem, everybody feels like, oh, I can also access the internet, oh, I also work in the organization, but that is not the right thing to do. So in the university, if there's a problem, you realize that the spokesperson role is dedicated to the PR team who is supposed to address it. So it is wrong if, let's say, a student, and let's say there was attack or something on campus, and then you just go into the public, you are just granting interviews and things, you have gone outside what you're supposed to do. And so we have the manager who is a spokesperson. If there was any issue in that department, if there was any issue in that business, there is a manager who is in charge of addressing those issues. And so the spokesperson role is also performed by managers when we're looking at the information rules. So in the information, we're looking at how you're going to get information from the environment, how you're going to get it into the business, spread it out to everybody who needs to have that information at the right time. And then we're looking out for the spokesperson role, where you have to address things as and when they come, or speak up for the function or the business you find yourself as well. At the decisional role, we're looking at 4 key things in there. We're looking at the entrepreneur, because at the end of the day, the entrepreneur is the one who has the idea or the vision for the business which is being run. And so the entrepreneur is very key when it comes to even what the business has to do, what they want to do, and all those things. They are the vision forebearers or the vision handlers or holders for the business. And so the entrepreneur is very critical when it comes to decision room of the organization. As a manager, you also have to work with disturbance handlers. Yes, there are going to be some small hearsays and all those things that are going to happen. We can't omit conflict, whether within and outside the organization. outside the organization, sometimes in the public space, people write a lot of false things about people all the time these days because of social media and things. And there should be someone who should be able to handle such disturbances as and when they happen, both within and outside the business. And so there's a decision rule of managers as well when it comes to what handling disturbances as and when they happen. There's also what we call the resource allocator rule. We need to decide on the various resources we need for our business to be able to run. We also need to even decide the quantities we need and who should be in charge of which resource, who needs more of that resource, who needs less of that resource. And so it's not just about acquiring the resources, but when it comes into the business, even how to share that resource to get the work done has to be done by looking at the manager's decision rule. Then we also have the negotiator. Yes, you have to look out for the interest of the people you are working with, the interest of the organization. And so sometimes when things happen, you want to go and bargain for them, looking out for the interest of the people you are serving. And so these are what constitutes the decision rule of the managers. So all in all, there are 10 roles which Mensberg actually came up with, and they can be classified under 3 major headings or categories, which is the interpersonal role, which includes a figurehead, leader, and a liaison. And we're saying we also have the information role, where the manager has to monitor the environment for information, bring it into the business and disseminate it. And most importantly, they become the spokespersons for their department or for their business. We also have the decision role, where we're looking at the entrepreneur, who is a forebearer of the ideas of the business. We're looking at the manager being able to handle the disturbances as and when they happen, be able to allocate resources in the most effective and efficient manner, and then also serve as a negotiator, looking out for the interest of the people they are serving as well. And all of this, there's something which is very key, but sometimes we forget to do on the ground, which is feedback. Feedback is very key. Feedback is something that should be going through, because we've made mention that when it comes to management, it is not a one-stand something. It's interrelated, interdependent, and what do you call it? And intertwined. And so everything in there has an effect on the other. And so feedback is very, very key. So these are the 10 management roles Mensberg came up with, which we've explained in this session. So in this session, we looked at the managerial roles, which included the interpersonal, the information, and decision roles of management. Thank you very much.